A Jets Colts trade on the horizon? Could that be possible between the New York Jets and the Indianapolis Colts for a draft day trade? There's some rumors. We talk about it and whether or not we should want to accept it as Jet fans.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
What's cracking, everybody? Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your audio podcast if you prefer. Good morning to my beautiful mother here on a Sunday. I see you coming up right here. John Sauer, not my mother. There we are. There's my mother watching the show. She supports the show every day. And thank you to everyone else, including John Sauer, supporter of the Boy Green Super Fan Club on YouTube and all you other crazy bastards who are in here before the show even starts talking about all kinds of hoopla, which, by the way, I saw some of your hoopla. I want to get into some of that hoopla, but we'll get more into that later. First off, for everyone who's watching, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, make sure you guys check it out. Support Heavy on Jets. That's where all our articles and everything comes out. YouTube.com/BoyGreen25. Like the video, hit subscribe. Plus on Twitter, hit that follow button. But real quick, if you're in that description, you will see an article for this very topic about the Jets and Colts having mutual interest in a trade. Let's break that down quickly, and then we can get into all the particulars that are involved in this program. First off, I'll do the Jets trade back portion. Field Yates talked to several anonymous league personnel, and from his conversation with them, they believe the Jets are going to trade down in the first round. That's the hubbub in town. That's what the Jets plan to do. That's what the Jets want to do if the right situation presents itself. So let's put that in bubble number one. Bubble number two is the Colts' interest in trading up, which means we have two parties to tango. If the Jets are, I don't want to say desperate to trade back. That's probably too aggressive of a word. But if the Jets are interested in trading back and the Colts are interested in trading up, we might have two dance partners, baby, but more on that in a second. Kelsey Kramer, who covers Georgia football for A to Z Sports. And I'll say real quick, this is a very unique way to reveal a draft nugget. Normally it's from the NFL side, not from the college side, but the college side is interesting, whatever the word is. They have an interesting reverse insight into the draft because, of course, those Georgia coaches are being called by NFL teams to learn more about the prospects. So in a weird way, you can find out through a back channel that a team is interested in training up through that. So I haven't seen that in a while. So shout out to Kelsey Kramer for, like I said, the reverse nugget here. But again, she covers Georgia football for A to Z Sports. She revealed that a source close to the program shared to her that the Indianapolis Colts are, quote, are a team that's looking to trade up into the top 10, end quote, for Bulldogs tight end Brock Bowers. And Destin Adams, another person that works over at A to Z Sports, listed the top three fits for Bowers. And there was the Jets at 10, the Colts at 15, and the Bengals at 18. So again, we have that mutual interest. Jets want to trade back, Colts want to trade up. But before we get there, it's an interesting question whether or not we should trade back. Now, my father did a mock draft yesterday that included a trade back, and I'll be honest, on paper, in theory, it's fun. The Jets got a bonus second-round pick. You got another pick to play with, which gives you a chance at a top 50 player, which is exciting because the Jets only have two picks currently in the top 100, so to have that is awesome. So, in theory, it's good, especially depending on what you do with it. So in PFF, it refuses to allow you to trade back to potentially get Brock Bowers, which again would be a very intriguing idea to me. If you could go to 13, 14, somewhere ahead of Indianapolis, because whether or not they want to trade up, according to Kelsey Kramer, they do for Brock Bowers. But whether or not that's true, I believe if Brock Bowers is on the board, the Colts would strongly consider it. So the pivot point of like holding all the cards on the table would probably be trading back to like 14. So the Raiders at 13, Saints are at 14. That would give you an opportunity to be right in front of the Colts and either make another trade where you pick swap with them because, hey, we're getting another call for Brock Bowers. And then you Joe Douglas really starts cooking there. So that one has intrigued me. I've seen a lot of mock draft scenarios with the Jets where they've traded back and they've gotten additional assets. And that's been really interesting. It's been an interesting result when that happens. And I like, because to me, again, I've mentioned this before, but there's kind of a modge-podge of offensive tackles after you get past Joe Alt, in my mind, although I saw Jets X Factor. Joe Blewett, who does a great job with all the film work, he says that Joe Alt should not be this prohibitive favorite, or he's too much of a favorite or something. There's a full column about it. So that one's really interesting. But again, it seems like to me that it's Joe Alt. Again, you can look at other people and maybe there's other perceptions about it, but I think Joe Alt's a guy. But after that, I'm kind of like Olu Fashanu is a left tackle. So if that's kind of your thing and that's really important to you, like him, but then everything else is in a pocket, everything else is in a pocket of Mims, JC Latham, Talis Fuaga, and then Tyler Guyton. You just go down the whole list. Patrick Paul's in the early second. But yeah, wouldn't that be a draft day scenario? Joe Douglas moves from 10 to 14, calls up the Colts. Oh, well, the phone's blowing up. That would be this Joe Douglas. Oh, yeah, that'd be groovy. That'd be groovy if he did that. And I love all the draft music. Oh, yeah. So I can't wait to watch that movie, by the way. We'll get more into it when we get a little closer to the draft, which, by the way, we're 11 days away from the NFL draft, which is friggin' exciting. But, yeah, there will be some draft day action because I watch that movie every draft. But, yes, that would be very methodical, brainy scheme stuff if they end up doing it. Brock Bowers should also be the best tight end Rodgers has ever had. I was reading a piece. Sorry, your comments are coming too fast. I was reading a piece on Bleach Report that called him perhaps the greatest tight end prospect in evaluation history. And I was like, whoa, wow. That was a spicy meatball. Also, I'm going to give someone some homework. I think it's Dakota. Let me go back up. Sorry. This thing's a little jumpy this morning. Let me scroll all the way back up to the comments because I saw Dakota say this. I think it was Dakota. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Dakota, it was you. So I heard Rich Cimini say this too. I don't know. I was trying to look it up and I got distracted and I got a child running around. So I haven't been able to look up the numbers, but here's homework for someone. Okay. Some extra credit on your next test. Okay. So Dakota says if the Jets draft Brock Bowers and mark only the 6th first-round pick tight end in franchise history, I don't mean to be a dick, but it would mark only, like, isn't 6 a lot? Maybe I'm totally off base here, but 6 tight ends in the first round in NFL history? Like, isn't that, like, a lot? I have not been able to compare those numbers, but if one of you guys can compare the numbers, how many other teams have taken these first-round tight ends and then compared to the Jets, I would argue this only number off the top of my head, because I haven't confirmed the numbers yet. I would imagine the Jets or one of the more aggressive teams in NFL history and taking tight ends in the first round. 6 is a lot that's 6 times a tight end in the first round. And yeah, I remember them all. He lays some of them out here. Dustin Keller, Anthony Beck, Kyle Brady, Johnny Mitchell. I mean, you go through a lot of the names and there's a lot of them, but that seems like a lot. So I would probably remove the only number because I think it's a lot, but you guys can confirm to me. I was trying to look up that number, but there's no easy way to look it up. So I think you just kind of have to do the math and kind of pull up each team's draft history and go Control F tight end TE and just kind of scribble down notes. That to me would have to be the fastest way to do it, I guess. But maybe you guys are better at it than me and you can find something quicker. But That's homework for somebody. If we can learn that before the end of the show, because I heard Rich Me says, "Wow, the Jets have only selected 5 tight ends in history." I'm like 5, and then the potential of 6 with Bowers. I'm like, that sounds like a lot. That doesn't sound like a little, but maybe I'll learn otherwise, and I'll shut up and be an idiot. That's very possible. Okay. So I will just say that. But yeah, I will also say real quick, because I'm going through these comments, I am very intrigued at the possibility of whether it's taking Brock Bowers at 10 or a potential trade back to get Brock Bowers. Rich Samini had a really good column on ESPN about it. And we'll pull that up because since we're talking about it, we will pull that up. Where's that little... here it is. I tweeted it out last night. I thought it was really cool. I'm going to throw this up on the screen for you guys. Also describe it for our audio-only listeners. So Rich Samini had this nugget in his story. I thought it was really cool. And this is from Rich Samini. A Tyler Conklin, Brock Bowers tandem would allow the Jets to use more 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, which could create favorable matchups. If opponents use their nickel package to defend Bowers, the Jets can counter by running Breece Hall against an undersized defense. They averaged only 4.9 yards per play in 12 personnel, below the league average 5.2 per next-gen stats. So if you present those kind of new looks, because again, I think Conklin is solid, and I love Conklin. He's been on the show like 100 times. Flex on him. But I love Conklin. I love this team. I love everything. That's exciting. But there's a chance to get even more out of the orange. And boy, putting those two together potentially. And that looks pretty good too. Look at that graphic, baby. That looks real nice. Shout out to Lyle the Egg with all these jersey swaps. He's a phenomenal follow on Twitter and Instagram if you guys are on there for the cool Jets jersey swaps. But the point is that I'm intrigued. That's all I'll say. I am very, very intrigued. All right, let me go back through. Jerome Barkham, I think, was the one back in 1972. John Sauer says, throw the chart away on top of the first round, trade with Indy for first round swap and second rounder. They'll pay a little bit more to get this best tight end prospect. Yeah, I don't know if I'd throw it away. I think it's a good baseline, but yeah, if I'm the Jets, that's what I'm trying to wrangle out of them because that would be juicy. My dad was able to do it by doing all kind of swashbuckling. I think it was the Raiders or the Saints, and he traded if I remember correctly, it was a first round swap. We get the second, and they get like a third next year, and we throw them a 7th. So there was a lot of hoopla running around, but hopefully, to your point, that you just trade back and say, yeah, give us the second if you want Brock Bowers, or else we're giving him to someone else, or we're taking him ourselves. Or maybe that threat, hey, puff your chest up, pufferfish, go, and just kind of flex on him, get the muscles up. Maybe that can get it going. That'd be great. Dakota, Marvin Harrison Jr. over Rome Odunze, Malik Davis. I don't want to say everyone, but I'm in that camp. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is special. But Rome Odunze is fun. Again, we'll be interviewing Rome Odunze this week, people. So spread the word. That's going to be awesome. It's later this week. Keep an eye out for that. We'll be interviewing Rome freaking Odunze. I'm so excited for that. That will be so cool. Todd says, tackle on center I'd like to see addressed. Yeah, they don't have a backup center right now. So I would probably go for a Conor McGovern. I don't think you have to. My dad did the Zach Frazier thing yesterday, which kind of caught me off guard because, again, I didn't know his draft plans. He didn't give me any nuggets. He just said, let's do this mock draft machine, and you press the buttons, pal. I'm like, all right. So I had no idea who his targets were at different positions or anything like that. But backup center is important. So, again, my play would be Conor McGovern. He obviously, we're getting into the same ballpark as last year. We're on April 14th, and there's been no interest in Conor McGovern league-wide, which means the door's wide open for him to come back. If he wants to continue his NFL career, Jets give you a shot. Same place you've been, and you seem to have a really good relationship with Joe Tippmann. Let's run it back. Rich Samini did provide some interesting nuggets. Again, check out the full interview with Will Parkinson. Very good interview. It's like 48 minutes. A lot of fun stuff in there. He said if the Jets go offensive tackle at 10, he doesn't believe this veteran swing tackle is coming anymore. So he believes it's one or the other, which I found interesting. I thought you maybe could do both, but eventually I guess he's right. Like, how many offensive tackles are you going to have? I say as many as possible, but he does make sense, especially financially speaking. Yeah, and I don't like Wes Schweitzer at center, so I prefer to keep him at guard. So I agree with you, Todd. I agree with you, pal. Totally agree. John Sauer again. Definitely move back OT, then wide receiver. Yeah, we'll see. Again, offensive tackle, I will tell you, John, and you know this more than ever anyone. That's probably why you've been pounding it so hard, is offensive tackles, that depth disappears so quick. Wide receivers, my dad got Tez Walker at 72. And again, it's a mock draft simulator, I understand, but like that's pretty good talent to get at 72. We didn't check the offensive tackle depth, but I've looked at it before and not great. Phil. Oh, you asked Paul, where did you get that Jets hat behind you with the palm trees? What's that over my left shoulder? Yeah, right here. Yeah. So my future brother-in-law, okay, he wanted to get me a gift. And he knows I'm this crazy Jets psychopath. And he's kind of a fashionista. I don't know how else to say that. He's like a youngster. He's like in his 20s. And he has like I've seen him have the glasses with the little shades. Like he just has a style. He has some suave. He's got some the kids probably think he's cool. Yeet, yeet, or whatever you kids say. That probably made me sound really old. But anywho, he has he has kind of like this style flavor. And to be honest, he got me this hat, which is a big ass hat. I mean, which is cool during the summertime. I also have like a Jets bucket hat. It's more like a training camp hat. I also have that one over there. Don't get to wear it often in the winter here in New York, but I'm hoping the weather chills out soon because I love that look too. So, yeah, I'm a big hat guy. Normally it's this. I don't wear flat brims anymore. I used to do that when I was younger and I thought I look cooler. But now it's more these flex fit hats. That's the draft one I get, and hopefully tomorrow all the stuff gets released by the Jets as it's been teased, the new logo, the brand, and everything like that. So that'd be an exciting thing for tomorrow. But and then we can order all our cool gear. But yeah, that one above me, I've never seen it either. But my future brother-in-law got it. It is a badass hat. It's a big ass hat too. I can't even put it on with the headphones. It's how big it is. But super cool. It's a different style. I think I wore that. I might have worn that on the cruise. I went on a cruise like last year, and cruises are fun. It's a lot of money, so I am not getting my kidney back that I gave up to go on that cruise. But for those who enjoy or have the means to do so, feel free to enjoy. But yeah, really cool hat. So yes. And I just it's a cool way because, like, to be honest, I got like these little hooks on the wall. Again, I told you guys eventually I'll show you this. So I'm going to go like MTV Cribs, welcome to my house. Let's look around. And floor to ceiling, there's a hallway right here. And floor to ceiling are jet hats like this. And there's just these like my fiance got them. There's these little rubber hooks on the wall. And then they're just jet hats for the most part, all on this wall all the way down. But like for a big ass hat like this, it can't fit on the hook. So like this was the best way to display it. And we got all kinds of other merch here. We got a Bart Scott, can't wait, autograph football with a little picture of Bart Scott. It was in the COVID days. You could see him. He's wearing a mask right there. I won that one from Can't Wait, NY Jets Situation Report. Shout out to him. See, I got some Joe Namath Funko Popped. Here's the thing about Funko Pops. Not to ruin it for Funko Pops people. Random aside here as we're doing this, but I could collect anything. Like we all have TV shows we watch and things of that nature. So like the problem is I would never stop collecting Funko Pops. Like I could build a wall. So I just kind of don't get them because then I feel like it would be too addictive. And then you just have like 1,000 Funko Pops. What the hell are you doing with all those? I'm going to be honest. No friggin' clue. So I do have some from other people that got them from me. So there's some Jet ones, which are cool, but I can't get them for myself because then I'm just going to be like, oh, let me get them for Yu Yu Hakusho. Let me get them for the New York Jets. Let me get them for insert TV show that I love. So I just feel like I'd go crazy. I don't know. Different strokes. Well, I got this. This is so cool. This is my daughter. Well, here we go. That's my daughter in Jets gear. That's Zariah Luna right there when she was a little baby. Okay. There's Daddy holding her, Zariah Luna. Very nice. I don't get to show that one often. That's a nice little piece. Okay. I do have that. By the way, I don't know if anyone could take credit for this, but I received this in the mail. Okay. Receiving this mail. This is very nice. We haven't been able to address it on the show. Someone sent me this. Okay, it says Boy Green 25 New York Football. Very nice. Someone sent me this. There was no name on the package, no nothing. I appreciate it. It's really cool. I haven't used it yet because I was kind of waiting for someone to claim that sent this to me, to my house. Someone would have to know my address too, I suppose. But someone sent me this. No idea, no name on it, but thank you, whoever you are. in the digital universe. And then let's see. I'm like looking around. This is a weird like kind of merch episode. Right here is we hope is the new logo, the new old logo that's coming back. This is a helmet that was signed by the entire New York Sack Exchange, which is awesome. I want it in one of those like an auction place or a sports memorabilia place goes, okay, we have 12 slots, pay $20 a slot or something. And after they're all filled, we'll reach, grab a number out, and whoever it is gets it. I got lucky. I got that for $20, baby. Plus, I guess the shipping, whatever that was. That had to have been probably double what it was worth. So it was probably another $20, but still like $40 for a friggin' awesome ass full helmet. Friggin', that's cool. I think that's most of the Jet stuff over here anyway. So yeah, I've got some like framed, in the process of framed jerseys. I don't know how I'm going to rearrange all this because it's kind of a tight window. I don't know what else is going to come. So, but really, really cool. Thanks for asking the merch questions, guys. All right, I'll come back up to you. Let me go to the most recent comments because I know I'm super far behind. I was answering a lot of people at the top, but let me go back down. Boop, boop, boo. Okay. Let's go to John Sauer. Just saw this one come in. Everyone says it's all about this year, but next year we'll be here before you know it. No Smith or Moses, probably unless Warren Mitchell turn into number one stars. We'll be in deep doo-doo. Possible. But again, I'm only thinking about 2024, but Joe Douglas is the one that's got to think beyond that. And I'll tweet out this video after, but like the Jets seem to have a ton of confidence about Carter Warren. Is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. Obviously, it's not real enough to have made him a starter this year because the Jets went pretty aggressive with Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. But, but maybe next year he could be that guy. Sean Bennett says authentic helmets go for $500 and up. Okay, I got a better deal than I thought, which is awesome. I just did it because I knew someone. I will leave this person unnamed, but they DM me and said, "Hey, did you see that auction thing sort of by you? It was in Buffalo or Rochester, or something. I can't remember where it was. This auction place, and they asked for." Or they're asking for the $20 thing, but they said, "Hey, did you see it?" This random fan tells me. And I'm like, "Oh, no, I didn't." But I said, "I don't normally gamble or bet or do anything like that." He's like, "Come on, what do you have to lose?" So so all the credit to him. He's the one who encouraged me to do it. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. And I ended up winning. So I've got like a 4-leaf clover at my ass. I'm a super lucky guy. Bernard Nixon, real quick. Hey, boy, Green, I love your dad, but your dad was dead wrong about Rodgers. I couldn't agree more. And, I don't know how else to say this. He's my dad. So, like, when we're going back and forth, he does that, like, that look like, son, I've seen some things. I know what I'm talking about. And I was just kind of like, Dad, I think you're kind of messed up on this one. So, he thinks the Rodgers thing was a mistake and all those other things. I was all about Rodgers. We had been through a decade of dumbassery, and to have a chance to swing for the fences and get a Hall of Famer to me, I will do that 20 times out of 20. Let me see if I could catch up here on comments. Snowball, Paul, name your price. How much for the Hall of Hats tour? Oh my God. Because I know you people did this for the Ferret Fund. All right, let's see. Last time we did $20. To be able to, I don't even know how I would do this. We're all connected right here like a robot. I don't know. No idea. $30. Some random number. And we will figure it out. If we can't do it live because we're attached here, I will do a video as soon as this is over and upload it to YouTube. And it will be the Hall of Hats tour. And I'll be able to have a camera that can move with me. And we'll do that. But there you go. If we get $30 in Super Chats before the end of the show, we will do this Hall of Hats tour. Like I said, I don't think we could do it live on the show like we did last time because literally I had the cage right here, so it was easy. But to be able to walk down the hall, I don't think my camera will go that far. I think eventually it'll be like, and the line will pull. But sure, $30 in Super Chats, and we will make that video. And I've been teasing it forever. Avatar, Boy Green, how did your dad become a Cowboys fan? I must have missed that. I don't want to misspeak because I think I know, but I don't know fully, so I don't want to tell the story wrong. So just save that question for when my dad is back and he can explain it. But my dad is a diehard Cowboys fan. My mom's a New England Patriots fan. Let me try to think of my family. My brother is a New Orleans Saints fan. It is all friggin' all over the place. Like I said, most Jet stories I hear when I go on shows or they ask my origin story or something, I'm like, I hear other people say like, my father was a Jets fan and I became a Jets fan. I'm like, what a natural thing that makes sense. My dad was a Cowboys fan and a Patriots fan. They're like, oh man, a mama chicken and a daddy chicken loved each other very much, and baby chicken. But like, it's like a deer and a snake loved each other very much and had a porcupine. I can't explain. I'm not sure. So yeah, but we have a wild variety. My grandfather, God rest his soul, Giants fan. I'm really starting to think we are like branching out. I have got no idea whatsoever. But your minutes from Frisco. That's cool. I went to Dallas last year for week 2. That was a bucket list item. My dad had never been to, like, he had visited AT&T and accidentally walked himself into like a tour. But I'll give a huge shout out, man. AT&T, that stadium was spectacular. And I wish the Jets would have won. Obviously, the Garrett Wilson touchdown. Oh, the freaking, I saw it and he caught, and I'm screaming, yeah. And I was with a bunch of Cowboys fans, unfortunately. There was only like one Jet fan in front of me, and I high-fived the crap out of his hand when it happened. I'm like, see you later, baby. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like losing my crap when Garrett Wilson took it to the house. Again, the Jets could have, should have, would have won that game. There was a lot of opportunities there. A lot of freaking opportunities there, but that's neither here nor there. But that's cool. I did go down there and see the facilities. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so I don't know that. Let's see. Better than our air conditioner, absolutely. And I will tell you, and people will make fun of me if they want, but oh my God, Snowball. Real quick, I'll get back to that. But the Hats Tour Contribution Fund just started Snowball dropping $4.99. Again, guys, if you somehow get to $30 in Super Chats before this is over, I will either attempt to do it live, but like I'm pretty sure this cord is connected to that, so I don't think I'll be able to show you that way. So I'll have to upload a video immediately after, but I will, giving you guys the Hall of Hat Tour. But it requires $30 in Super Chat. So Snowball, way to get it started. So keep it coming, baby. We'll be live for another, I'm sure, 20, 30 minutes or so. But back to you, John. When we sat in our seats, they're great seats. When we sat in our seats and we were looking down, and there's just a pageantry to Dallas. It's an iconic franchise. They've won a bunch of Super Bowls. You have the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. You have a powerful rendition of the national anthem, the music, the fans. It's overwhelming. There's just no other way to put it. So when it's like, it's time, Michael Irvin had a pre-recorded hype up video for everyone in there, the Hall of Famer himself, and he was hyping up the fans. And I was just overwhelmed by the emotion in the building. You're not at let me try to make up the Houston, no offense, but a Houston Texans team that became a thing in 2002. Like, it wasn't that. This is a team that's been around forever, and there's just an iconicness to them. There's things that, and I was looking at my dad and I was tearing up. I'm like, holy friggin' crap. Like, I'm not sad, or I was happy, I guess, but I was just like, oh, whoa. Like the music, the cheerleaders, the this, the that. I was just overwhelmed. It was just a massive thing, and everything about it, like it's like the freaking Jumbotron right there. It's friggin' massive, and then there's the fans everywhere. So cool, so cool, so cool. So yeah, it's completely better than what the Jets have, but we'll see. I know there's some opt-out coming up in 2025 or something with that, so we'll see whatever that looks like. But whoa. It was I've been to a few other NFL stadiums. I've been down to the Falcons one. I was randomly down there. The one I haven't been to that I think would be like, holy crap, even more, is SoFi Stadium. That place looks like a freaking palace. I don't know how else to put it. Like, it is. And Sean, that's the sad thing. As it says, it puts our stadium to shame. It's sad because, like, when did the Jets build this? Like, when did it 2011 or something, or 2010, 2009? Maybe I'm forgetting the years, but somewhere in that range is whenever it came out. I guess let me get it accurate here. MetLife Stadium. Okay. It was opened. No, that's not right. Yeah, I don't know. It's not pulling up. But one of you guys will know. But whatever. 2012, Jared B says. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I thought it was something like that. But like, okay, it was 12 years ago. We couldn't like come up with our own version of a palace. You don't have to copy the Cowboys, but whatever their thing was, like, come on, man. Like, we couldn't have gotten something cooler. So, or US Bank Stadium. That place is so friggin' cool, Avatar. That's a great call on YouTube. That place is awesome. And I haven't been there, but I heard that they're like before the game. So they have the skull stuff, but there's fake digital snow or something that falls from the roof as they like rally the fans. What? That is amazing. Technology is so freaking cool. Like I've gone to some like NBA stadiums or arenas, however you want to say it, and the Celtics have like this digital thing on the court. And I'm sure maybe a lot of stadiums have this. They have this digital thing on the court. So like the court turns into like a video game and things happen. And I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm just some simpleton, right? This technology goes above my head. I don't even know what's happening, but I'm just like lost in it. So cool. US Bank Stadium's another cool one. That is a phenomenal stadium. Phenomenal. Absolutely. So we'll see. Yeah, let's address this. So Dakota asked me, Paul, is Dallas your second team? Just wondering because I know your dad's second team is the Jets. Let's make this clear. I am a Jets fan. Obvious. Look at everything. My hat, my hoodie, my shirt, my underwear, for Pete's sake, is Jets. I am a Jets guy through and through, diehard. I will say, when the Jets are not playing, of course, I'm supporting my father watching Cowboys games and things of that nature, but I wouldn't call them my second team because I feel like you can't have a second team. You know, it's either, you know, you have to, like, as a fan, you're a fan of one NFL team. That's your team, and that's it. Like, again, I wouldn't call it a second team of fandom. That to me is insulting. I think it's like support or a different word, lesser than fan, like lesser than second team, because you just can't have a second team. That's against code. Like, I know we've had like a caller yesterday said they're like maybe it was yesterday, I don't know, or sometime over the last couple of weeks said they were like a Jets and Giants fan. They support both, and maybe there's those kind of fans out there, but I don't think you're as invested. Like me, Jets, I bleed and die by the Jets. They win, I lose it. I'm doing only a post-game show about the Jets. When the Cowboys win or lose, I'm not running over here doing a post-game show about the Cowboys. Hey, guys, do you see that Cowboys game? I might mention it because like we're in the NFL universe, the NFL multiverse. But no, I wouldn't call them my second team. And I think, as NY Jets FL says, I think he's just trying to be a good dad. Like, there's teams I like. There's teams I respect. Again, I've seen like a bunch of Cowboys games by virtue because my dad's a diehard Cowboys fan. I was raised in his household, and Cowboys are always in prime time. So sure, I've seen like a million Cowboys games in my life. But no, he wanted me to be a Cowboys fan. That's what he was raising me as his kid. But eventually, like I said, there were pivotal moments where the Cowboys were getting destroyed. Not getting destroyed, that's not right. Like a painful loss, and I didn't feel a damn thing. My father's in the fetal position, and I knew I wasn't a fan. A fan, you have to be so, at least in my definition, you have to be so invested to the team, so like with them, that when they win, you feel that pure elation, that adrenaline, that whatever, that dopamine of like, we won. There's a we factor here. And when they lose, I used to be in my room as a little Jets fan crying when they lost a game. Like, how did this happen? Devastating. Like, that's how invested I was as a Jets fan. Not all of you have to be that way, but that's just me, how I am. I just don't feel like you can be a fan of multiple NFL teams. I don't know. Like college? Okay, maybe. Because for me, college is a little different. I grew up all over the East Coast because of my father being in the United States Navy. So he was on several ships, the USS Tennessee, the USS Baltimore, the USS Georgia. And you go through all those ships and you're in places. And then by virtue, you're like this nomad kind of moving to multiple places. So The USS Tennessee, my dad got me a Tennessee Volunteers jersey. I have one of those in the closet. I'm not sure how many times I've worn it or how many times I'm like, let's go Volunteers. But like, so that one's a more nomad travel experience. I've been living in Syracuse since 2008. So it's like, the Syracuse area. So it's like whatever, 16 years or something. So like, I've been a season ticket holder of Syracuse football. That's kind of my team, I guess. My dad's a diehard Notre Dame fan, so I've seen a ton of Notre Dame games with him, so I've been with him on that. So that one's a little bit more iffy, but no, Jets, come on. That's what we are, baby. That's what we are. Okay, let me catch up here. How did I become a Jets fan? I've explained it before, and I'll explain it anytime anyone asks, because God rest in soul my grandfather, who is a massive influence on my life, and long story short, like I said, my dad was trying to raise me to be a Cowboys fan. Bad things would happen, and I'd be like, I'm not feeling anything here. Like there has to be pain. So I picked the one team that gave me the most pain ever. My grandfather, again, God rest his soul, gave me the nickname the Jet. And I think it was because I like ran around all over the place. I'm not sure. And unfortunately, didn't get the actual, like, where did that come from to me? I don't know. I don't think I just wore green. I mean, maybe I did because green was my favorite color, but I'm not sure. But he always had me do the JETS chant. But I will be honest, I didn't know what it meant. I just did it because it was me and my grandpa's thing. JETS, jet, jet, jet. And eventually one day I'm like, Grandpa, what's the Jets? And he went, ho, let me show you. My grandpa's a Giants fan, by the way. So it makes no sense whatsoever. But he gave me this the Jet nickname. And, I see a Jets game and I was in love and I fell head over heels and I've been a fan for 20 plus years. So, whatever it is, it's just crazy. So I became a Jet fan for my grandpa giving me, the Jet nickname. And then I got the Boy Green nickname for my radio show. So about 10 years ago, I got into radio as an intern. And the radio co-host, that's still my radio co-host today, told me, young kid coming in from college, that, hey, all interns get a nickname and they're stuck with it for the rest of their lives. And I'm like, oh boy, I have no idea what the nickname's going to be. And then I'll tell this story too, that it came down to two nicknames. So he was just going to observe me for like a week and he was going to come up with a nickname that I would be stuck with for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I hope it's a good one. And he comes to me on one of the days, and this is live on the radio. He comes to me on one of the days of the radio, and he says, I've got it. And I'm like, okay, let me hear it. And he says, before I tell you the one I picked, I will tell you the other one I considered. And I'm like, all right, shoot. He said, Elroy. And I'm like, Elroy? It just sounds like a normal name, Elroy. What the hell does that have to do with anything? He goes, well, the Jetsons, Elroy, Jetsons, Jets. That makes sense, right? And I'm like, yeah, but that sounds like if I'm on the show right now, this is Boy Green Daily, Elroy Daily. Like you'd be like, what is that? What does that even mean? Honestly. And every time I have to be like, well, Elroy's from the Jetsons, Jetsons, Jets. You get it? Good Lord. Thank God he didn't pick that. It would sound like if I'm like, hey, I'm Paul Elroy Esden. They'd be like, what is that, your middle name? Like if I'm Paul Boy Green Esden, they don't think that's my middle name. That would be weird. So anywho, that was the first nickname he said he considered. But the other nickname that he's rolling with is Boy Green. I'm like, Boy Green? Sounds like a bad superhero is what I thought initially. But I'm like, but again, I didn't have a choice in the matter. You don't come up with your own nickname. By the way, that's a rule of the nickname game. If you come up with your own nickname, that probably makes it ineligible by nature, but that's neither here nor there. But anywho, he gives me the nickname Boy Green, and at first I'm like, this is the weirdest nickname I've ever heard. But eventually I just go, you know what? I'm just going to embrace it, and I'm going to be Boy Green. And so I changed all my social media to Boy Green. Something picked up because I started to get more involved on social media, Twitters and all that other stuff as Boy Green, and it kind of took off from there. So shout out to my grandfather. Again, love you, buddy. One of my best friends. So love my grandpa. So he gave me the Jet nickname, and then the Boy Green. So it kind of went hand in hand. Lurch, my grandfather, my father allowing me out of the Dallas Cowboys contract. All of it kind of together was a mix smash, and here we are. So thank you for asking. Yeah, it was a long story. I'm sorry. Yeah, this has been a very all over the place episode, but I appreciate you. So it's been cool. But Yeah, I'm a diehard Jets fan. Diehard. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. All right, I'll do this. I will open up the phone lines. I'll throw that in here because I will not be able to catch up on all your comments. So hopefully some of those can come to life during the show. Let's see here. Let me go over to YouTube. Okay, and we will put this up, and you guys can feel free to join me, and we'll see if anything comes of that. We'll see if anything comes of a hat tour fund. And it's not picked up steam like video or ferrets. Video link to join the show. Okay, let's put that one right in there. And that one is now pinned to the top of YouTube. So if you're watching on any other platform heavy on Jets, on Twitter, you guys have to jump over to youtube.com/boygreen25. Then you guys can click the pin link, hop in the green room, and we'll bring you on the show. As long as you have your camera on and I can see you and you're in a relatively quiet place, we can bring you in here on the show. Yeah, my father said, NY Jets FL, that my dad's biggest regret in life was allowing me out of the shackles because I'd be Boy Blue, I guess. I don't even know if that would be my nickname because I didn't come up with it, but I'd be like Boy Blue or something. I don't know. As a Cowboys guy, I guess, but we'll see. I'll answer this question. Let's see. Phil, part of the Boy Green Super Fan Club. That's also, by the way, if you want to contribute for free, the 600 plus people in this room, you like the video on YouTube, you hit subscribe. But if you want to go the extra mile, there's a little money sign on YouTube. You can join the Boy Green Super Fan Club, small fee every month. You can join the group, get cool shout outs and all other kind of perks. But he says, will we finally get an alternative white helmet? So we're allowed 3 helmets now. 3 helmets. And you have the normal, which is going to be green. You have the black, which I imagine they're going to bring that back. Then you have one more option because the NFL has approved that. So your choices are either white alternative helmet, maybe a Joe Namath-esque shout out, or it's just the white inverted version of this one above my or below or right at eye level of my right shoulder. So it's either going to be that one inverted white green, which would look really sharp, I'm sure. Or again, I'm for it. I know it's polarizing, but New York Titans, baby, give me some of that action. And yes, I'm all about the New York Titans, baby. Navy blue and that golden mustard. So that could be another option. But the alternative white, I wouldn't be mad at. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities. Either the Joe Namath-esque shout out, that could be your other throwback possibility, or white alternative helmet to this. I think that's it. All right, let's go to the phone lines. NY Jets FL, baby, joining us here on the program. What's up, buddy? Oh, look at that jet ski. Okay, we're going.
Trying to get that thing going, too. 49 degrees here this morning, Paul. Got my Bucks
Where are
gear.
you at? Oh, yeah. Where are you at?
It's in the 40s. It's cold. It's a little chilly for us. It'll be 90 degrees by Wednesday, though. That'll be fun. That will be fun. Hey, Paul, let me ask you a question. Actually,
Yeah.
getting ready for workout, but are you getting burned out of mock drafts? I mean, do you ever get to the point where you're saturated with this and you have to be like, okay, well, I know it's your profession, but I'm a little bit to the point of how many more debates do we have over Brock Bowers and that's kind of run its path, but I wanted to see your opinion.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people bring this up in the past, and it's a good question. To me, again, how I look at it is, I will tell you the thing that I try to keep fresh, because like it's not just like in terms of mock drafts consuming, I never get tired of that. Like, so when Mel Kiper comes out with another one, I'm in. Daniel Jeremiah comes out, I'm in, or whoever is the person, I'm in. So consuming them, reading them, observing them, and trying to gain some knowledge or anything from them, because different people have different blurbs and prospects, which I try to absorb as much information as possible. All that to me is super interesting. I think when it can get stale, potentially, is like, let's say me, so I do this show every day, and like, I don't know, multiple days a week, I'm doing a mock draft for the Jets. Okay, you can stay, you can move up, you can move down, but like eventually, in theory, you're going through all the possibilities in terms of moves, which again, that's how I look at mock drafts. I know a lot of people I've seen, like when a mock draft happens, like in February or early March before free agency. They're like, this is stupid. I hate it because obviously things are going to change. To me, I love the evolution of mock drafts. Like mock drafts early. Oh, we have to go offensive tackle. This is it. Free agency happens like, now we got options. Maybe we could go wide receiver. Maybe we could go Brock Bowers. Maybe we could go this way. I love all the discourse and energy and interest and things of that nature that go into that process personally. So I know some people get burned out. I think potentially I would get burned out if I didn't have different things. So like me and Woody do a mock draft together where we're arguing about every pick. That's cool. Me letting my dad do it yesterday and I'm just pressing the buttons. I'm going, really? That's your pick. Okay. And then we're going through that. So it's been cool. And on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm trying to book draft experts. So it'll be me, Woody, and draft expert, and we can bounce ideas off of him. So I think that's going to be very interesting. So it can get stale if you allow it to get stale. I guess maybe that's the best way to put it. But for me, I really enjoy. I love this time of year. I love reading, consuming, and doing all those kind of things in the mock draft process. Yeah,
I get it. I just think the debate over the Bowers thing has gotten a little stale. I am fascinated with the team building aspect, where where are teams at in the individual cycles of building, and who's the stable teams in the NFL. Who's obviously you could name them like Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City. All those perennial teams that know how to team build and draft. For example, even the Steelers, they get TJ Watt in the 20s. It's just, and I look back at that and I'm like, well, why didn't we get TJ Watt? Because we are drafting, looking for the quarterback. We're looking for the offensive lineman that we busted on again. I mean, we're just, it's challenging. But Paul, I do like the draft aspect and the team building and what are we picking? And like the Sauce Gardner debate was great because everyone needs a shutdown corner. It's a kind of me. It's probably the third most important position in the NFL. Close, third or fourth maybe. Yeah, but high on the list. I mean, you need some who's going to be like that anchor in the back. I mean, I agree. 100% because you have quarterbacks, you have left tackles, and I know right tackles are getting important too because they're flipping pass rushers to the other side, but call it tackle if you want. Quarterback, tackle, corner, pass rusher, like those are like the primo positions, and maybe you can argue for this or that, but like those are the first ones that come off the top of my head that fit the bill. I will say the one thing I don't like about mock draft season, everyone can have opinions, right? So like, who's it? I think John Sauer's the one. Offensive tackle. That's what I want. Every day I see that. And I love that. And that's cool. But like on Twitter, which could be a cesspool, I guess. But on Twitter, like there are certain people that are for Brock Bowers, like so much that if anyone says anything, they're an idiot and they don't know what they're talking about. Like it's Brock Bowers or bust. Those people kind of like should probably be put in padded rooms. But like, I think we can have healthy conversations. To me, and I've said it again, that like it's going to be really hard for Joe Douglas to do something at 10 where we're all like, oh, good Lord, how have you effed this up? Like, I feel like that's going to be very hard to do for Joe Douglas. So if they take Bowers, I think while there will be some detractors of the top 10 pick tight end and things of that nature or whatever, okay. But for the most part, we're going to be like, okay, another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Protection, okay. And some people will say, boy, we got to back up. God, geez, whatever. But more protection for Aaron Rodgers. I think that's where we settle on almost every wide receiver. Oh, great, another guy to catch passes. Like, no matter what, I think we will be there. Ultimately, but I think there might be some hoopla getting there. Hey, Paul, you think the some of the insiders that put out mock drafts, do you think there's a slant or like they put certain things out purposely for certain teams, or you think they're straight on board? I'm not particularly pointing somebody out, but Jeremiah's close to the Jets. I don't know if he's got a little bias where he'll put something out. Maybe it's a smokescreen or something, but
yeah, I will just speak to, so Jeremiah in particular, if there was one mock draft that would put on the pedestal above all the others, to me, it would be Daniel Jeremiah. And the reason why, and he explains this, I think he explains it in the blurb of every mock that he does, but if not, he definitely explains it on TV, that for a mock draft, he doesn't follow his big board at all. He said the thing he does is he talks to teams. And as a former scout in a lot of different places, and obviously being at NFL Network and getting to talk to teams for games and doing all, and he does Chargers radio, and he has all these different platforms to get all these sources and information. He says he does what he hears from the teams. And he said his big board is where he shares like his opinions on where players are this or that or how he grades them and stuff. So that one to me is the one that holds water. He was the first one that had Mekhi Becton way back in one of his first mock drafts, like as a top 5 pick. And people were like, Mekhi Becton, top 5 pick? And people were talking about him in the second round. Ooh, maybe the Jets can get this guy in the second round. He was on it before anyone else. Of course, he predicted the Houston Texans trade thing too the night before the draft. Like he knows his crap, and it is inside stuff. I think there are plenty of mock drafts out there that are like, feeding narratives or doing different stuff. So like I know one thing that I will leave any mock drafts analyst or mock draft people that I know that do this. I know there are ones out there that do a lot of different versions, and they just try to mix it up by putting some of their guys at the back end of the first round. So like even if they're a second round pick, I don't know if it's a tip of the cap to the agent to help out the guy, get him some publicity, and they do TV hits and they talk about it or whatever. But I 100% know that's a thing. So there is a little bit of that gamesmanship there. Now, I don't know if I don't know of any story personally, could have happened somewhere else, where like the Ravens go, hey, Mel Kiper, put this out there. And then he puts it out there, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, whoa, what does that mean? I don't know. I haven't heard of any of those, but that would be funny if that happens. But yeah, so I know Jeremiah does his sourced information, which is really cool. He only messes around with his big board when he does personal stuff for the most part. So that to me is really intriguing. But yes, that's another layer of the mock draft process, because we know teams have now admitted it, that they run through mock draft simulations in their own building to try to get a sense of all the different possibilities in the draft. That to me made mock drafts even cooler. I'm like, wow, even the teams are doing it when we're goofing around doing it out here. That's fun.
Yeah, I actually have gone into mockdraftsimulator.com and gone on that one a few times just to see and there's some bizarre trades. I mean, proposals like, teams giving up their whole draft for the Jets number 10 for next year. Like the Chiefs giving up like 6 draft picks. But can we blame Daniel Jeremiah for the Becton pick then? I mean,
yeah, I absolutely think we can throw that at DJ's feet, because he's the one. He had it, I'm pretty sure, in that, if my memory serves me correctly, on that first mock draft that he did, he had Mekhi Becton to the Giants, who had the 4th overall pick at the time. They ended up with Andrew Thomas. And then we had everyone else. So we had Cleveland, who was right ahead of the Jets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it was Giants, Cleveland, Jets, Tampa Bay. That ended up being the top 4 tackles in that class. So, yeah, he had Mekhi Becton, mock to the Giants at that first mock, which raised everyone's eyebrows like, whoa, okay, this prospect is being evaluated differently in NFL teams' mind than it is fans. And he ends up going, obviously, 11th overall to the Jets. So, yeah, we could definitely blame him. I am looking for people to blame. I've got things, and I'm looking for people to pin it on. That is the MO for the mock draft stuff. I'm like, you bastard. That's why, Calvin Pryor, Louisville Slugger, was our gosh darn safety or whatever I'm yelling about. Or yesterday, I see people are raving about that 2014 class, maybe the greatest wide receiver class of all time. In the 4th round, the Jets take Shaq Evans and Jalen Saunders. Saunders plays 1 year in the NFL and then leaves. And then Shaquille Evans, who's now like in the CFL or something, he doesn't ever play a snap in the NFL. Unfriggin', like, how bad do you have to be for that to happen? Apparently, in the greatest wide receiver class of all time. Disgusting.
Hey, Paul, do you think this is what I think? But do you think when you come off the top offensive lineman, maybe even Alt? Do you think, or maybe Fashanu or one of those, maybe 2 or 3 picks? Do you think a lot of these guys are going to grade out the same?
You mean like after Alt, that it's all kind of like a pile together?
Or maybe Fashanu, like a couple of top tackles, and then you're going to have a bunch of guys almost at the same level. Right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying now. Yeah. I would say that, again, earlier I saw an article from Joe Blewett who said, maybe Joe Alt is getting too much hype. So, I guess eventually I think we get paralysis by analysis, and we're putting these guys on pedestals, and the only direction for them to go after we put them so high is to go down. So I think sometimes we overdo it, but Joe Blewett does a lot of great film work, so shout out to him. But the way I evaluate it and evaluate it slightly differently after a Tyron Smith signs, but like there's two true left tackles in this draft. That is Joe Alt and that is Olu Fashanu. And then you have a bunch of guys that maybe can do it, or then we're getting outside of the first round. You're saying, oh yeah, that guy could be a left tackle. So like there's only two, in my mind, sure things from a left tackle perspective, and left tackle super important for obvious reasons. That would be, in theory, Aaron Rodgers' blindside, especially if you're ensuring the Tyron Smith thing. Like that's how I see it. I see Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, like in these left tackle tiers, really top tiers. And then to me, everyone else is a pile. That's why all the people say trade back and we're going offensive line. Okay. Because J.C. Latham, sure. Tyler Guyton, Talise Fuaga, go through Mims, go through all of these names. And to me, it's kind of like a bucket of all the same. I can't separate them. Maybe I'm not a good enough offensive line evaluator, I guess, to really get nitpicky as we're going through offensive line rankings of why this guy would be above this guy. So how I view it is the same way as you, NY Jets FL, is that when I evaluate this, when I look at this, all of it is in a mosh posh pit. And that, again, is also why it increases my, all right, let's trade back. If they're all the same, if there's 4 or 5 guys here, Jets like, yeah, whatever. Any of them would do. They're not Joe Alt, but they're all them. Okay, trade back a few slots, insert, throw a dart, grab whoever that guy is, and then, like, let's get on with it. So that's how I evaluate it. I don't know if they give the little bump to left tackles, so Joe Alt, Olu, and then all the other guys, right? Does that matter anymore now that you have Tyron? Because you don't want to flip the deck? That's a part I don't know, because there's a compelling case to be made for Alt or Fashanu because of left tackle protection, but I don't know how much more versatility they have on the rest of the line. If you get the Fontenot guy, like he can play multiple positions. So maybe that's some more, now that we're looking for depth, maybe he's the guy to get because of that. But I do really love the left tackle thing, because after Tyron Smith plays this year, does he play another year? Does he retire? Like what's the plan after that? I think that's important too.
Right. Right. I'm to the point where I'm not thinking about 2026 or 7.
Let's
just go for it. Let's be the Rams. Let's be the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Add pieces here and there, and then just make a run. And we have to blow it up. We blow it up again. We've already been. How many times have we been down this road at this point? Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Blow it up again.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like, let's chase it, and then after it, we'll figure it out after. Now, NY Jets FL, make sure you're careful with the jet ski. I heard what happened to Nyheim Hines last year. Don't want any injuries out there, so make sure jet ski safety is going on out there. Mas importante, my friend. Enjoy all the chutzpah out there.
Thanks for the time again, Paul. As always, you have a great day.
Yeah, you too, pal. NY Jets FL. And then we've got another regular here who's been, cracking the pipes. He might be coming for my job, quite frankly. Let's bring in BAC Baby here on the program. What's up, brother?
Hey, Paul Green. It's great to be back on once again. Yeah, I just want to call and talk about a few things with you. And then, I think that first, I want to talk about what your dad said yesterday. And then second, the draft, and then your safety position too. But let's get to what your dad said yesterday. Look, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I believe, you know what I mean. Not everybody's gonna have the same opinion, which that's make football great. You know what I mean, or sports great. People have different opinions, and you can agree or disagree. You can go back and forth, and and it makes for fun debates and conversations. Well, I just think that he kind of he was totally wrong about what he said yesterday about Rodgers. Saying that I mean, is he a Cowboy fan? Right? Is your dad a Cowboy fan?
Mm-hmm.
So Rodgers has a history of owning the Cowboys. I think he's 8-2 in his career. 18 touchdowns. I think 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what that hate for him comes from deep inside, because Rodgers, because he has front row seats of Rodgers breaking his Cowboys' hearts and sending him home. In regular season games and playoff games. Don't forget that famous pass to Jared Cook, on the sideline there. You remember that. Your dad's a Cowboy fan. You probably saw that game, back in 2016. I did too as a Packer fan, But Yeah, so maybe that is, or maybe like I don't, I, I just think that his opinion was wrong. To say that Derek Carr, or like he said that y'all should get like a mediocre quarterback for y'all to be for y'all to win the Super Bowl. Like Derek Carr, like I don't get this Derek Carr infection. Like he's a okay quarterback, but he's not a guy that a team can win a Super Bowl with. You know what I mean? And he keep bringing up Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. Like those days are over with football now. Like a days that you can just win a Super Bowl, win a game manager quarterback. Those days are over. Like I know that Jimmy Garoppolo's and the Brock Purdy's went to the Super Bowl, which okay, but they at the end of the day didn't end up winning a Super Bowl. To win a Super Bowl, you need a Hall of Fame elite quarterback like Mahomes, Tom Brady. And do you dad realize that this happens like this things turns out to be good, or this things like people have done these things before, like Matt Stafford first year went to the Rams, boom, Super Bowl. Tom Brady, obviously, first year, boom, Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, you know what I mean, had some successes his first few years. They all went to Super Bowl, lost, but this last year in with Denver, won a Super Bowl. Now, even though Peyton was washed up, they still had that defense. Peyton just need to do just enough to use his mind, his brain, and they won a Super Bowl. Brett Favre went to Minnesota, had success. Joe Montana went to KC, had success winning the championship game. So stuff like this works when a team gets a veteran quarterback and they end up having success. But in winning Super Bowl, or they go deep in the playoffs and win back their careers. So
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah. So just to address it, I think you're right. When you cherry pick the Trent Dilfers, Brad Johnsons, even Joe Flacco, while we can all make fun of the regular season, that's kind of whatever. We never considered him like a top 3 quarterback or anything like that. He had this elite playoff run where he had like 11 touchdowns, no picks or something in those playoffs. He just took it to another level and was on fire during that Ravens run to the Super Bowl. But those are cherry-picked examples, and I get it. The Jets defense is awesome, and I get it. They do have a lot of skill players like Breece Hall and Garrett, and maybe I can see what he's trying to talk about is all you needed was this. But at the end of the day, quite frankly, Aaron Rodgers took a $35 million pay cut. So like he took stuff off the top to help the team. The Jets, all they had to ultimately give up is a first round pick swap and a second rounder, which is in the 40s. If you can't survive as a team losing a second rounder, then you didn't deserve to be there in the first place. So the Jets will regret it. It was a mistake to go after Rodgers. Completely disagree. If it was like, I don't know, 4 first round picks or something, that required for Rodgers, and then it set the team back a decade or all these years as my father thinks it's going to, maybe he'd have a case, but to me, he doesn't. I think when you have a chance to get a Hall of Famer, you have an absolute opportunity to rise the level, not just barely squeak by an offense. In today's day and age, you need to be offensively functional and beyond that. Having Aaron Rodgers keeps Garrett Wilson happy, keeps Breece Hall happy. Having a Trent Dilfer, for the example that's been given, that doesn't keep these guys healthy or happy rather. And eventually they want to go because they're not putting up numbers, which means the Jets aren't paying up the money for the numbers that they're getting. And then they get frustrated and they leave. So yeah, I'm with you, BMAC. I couldn't have pushed back any harder against my father. And now that he can't, we could kick him while he's down and he can't defend himself. I love it. I prefer that. A couple of roundhouse kicks over there. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers was the right choice. I'm glad they did it. We flirted with Derek Carr, and in the moment, there were some flirtations there. But to me, I did that little mini Jets documentary last year. They asked me, Paul, who is the quarterback you want? I said, Aaron friggin' Rodgers. That's a quarterback I want. I want us to go swing for the fences for Aaron, and if we can't get him, okay, we'll figure out something else later. But my number one target was Aaron Rodgers, and we got him. And sure, the 4-snap sucks, but that's hindsight. The injury thing, you got to throw that out. You are putting it in for Rodgers, and I think there's a lot more meat on the bone here with Rodgers. That he seems hell-bent. He seems like he's on a mission, and when he's been on a mission historically, great things have happened. So I'm super excited for Rodgers this year and everything that it entails. So yeah, I push back aggressively on everything my father said. I can't wait for Rodgers. I would have done that move even knowing everything now. I still would have done that move.
Yeah, I just and nobody expect him to get hurt on the fourth play of the year, man. Like I
Right.
think people also got kind of got to take that to account. Like let's see what this guy actually looks like. Like can we let him complete a pass? Like can we let him finish a game first? Can we just see it first? Because we only saw 4 snaps, and nobody nobody if you would told somebody last offseason Rodgers was going to go. Aaron Rodgers, who's an Iron Man, who his entire career never misses no games except like 2 seasons. 2 seasons he misses multiple games because of the collarbones, but outside of that, like this dude, barely misses games. Like he's always there. He's always And then he said that Rodgers is not a team player. Y'all needed a team player. Like if Rodgers wasn't a team player, then why did he play through a broken thumb for most of the season? Like he could have easily sat out his last year in Green Bay and rested that thumb and not play at all and get that.
And why did he give up the money? He gave up $35 million. That's the largest guaranteed money. $35 million was in his bank account, and he took it out of his bank account and gave it to the Jets. Like, that is the definition of a team guy. So you're right. Injury-wise, he's there for his teammates. That, and also, people made fun of this, but I think they made fun of it wrongly. He got voted the most inspirational teammate award for when he came back. I've had players on my show like Thomas Morstead say, man, it's so inspiring seeing him in the locker room. He doesn't have to do this. He is a Hall of Famer without anything with the Jets. But seeing him fight every day and grind and attempt to come back as he potentially could have at the end of last year, the teammates, there was an award voted on by his teammates. People thought it was a big joke. The teammates voted on that award. They wouldn't have voted on it if he was what Brett Favre was in a lot of ways. People said that he kind of was a 1%er, didn't really hang out in the locker room, did his own thing, had like his own office and own different stuff, like the Russell Wilson stuff in a lot of ways, and that put people off. Rodgers is in there, hanging out with his teammates, cracking jokes and having a good time. So, yeah, again, that other part I think is wrong too. He has proven to be not only just a sufficient teammate, but a superior teammate of the money giving up, being with his teammates, and them having all these rave reviews about him. I agree as well, BAC.
Yeah, and then the whole Zach Wilson thing, him, like he looked at Rodgers for going out to California to rehab. Like he went to California to get surgery from the best famous doctors to have ever done Achilles surgeries. Like Kobe Bryant got his what's his name, Neil Albatross. Like Kobe Bryant got his Achilles surgery done by that same doctor as well, and it made Kobe come back stronger when he tore his Achilles. So Rodgers wanted to go to where he can get his surgery from the best doctor that he knew. So for him ripping him for not being there, and then he said, well, he wasn't on the sideline. Has he watched the games? Like Rodgers has been on the sidelines a lot doing y'all games.
And since he's been cleared. So that's another thing. Like initially, you're not allowed on the sidelines with the injury if you can't protect yourself. Like if a football player accidentally falls in. Could you imagine that freaking story on the New York Post? Aaron Rodgers sitting on his little scooter gets slammed by rolling player, and now he's out for the next 20 years. Like, no, that would have been ridiculous. So he questioned him training in California. That one I didn't like, and there wasn't a lot of back and forth that I could have with my father. But now that we can, to say to go out to the West Coast to get the best possible doctor that's there, and then to do the rehab. To me, the rehab was more important than being there for a week 3 game. Get your rehab in, do what you have to do, because flying back and forth, you got to think about the swelling on the Achilles for the surgery after that. You can't do a private jet back and forth a million times. I'm glad that he got the rehab in and he pounded it in, did it very well. And then once he was cleared for travel, he came over. Once he was cleared for on the field, he was on the field, had a headset on, was very engaged. So again, I don't know. I don't know where my dad's thinking from. He's older, so maybe he has different wisdom and different insights and things of that nature. To me, I'm enjoying this bash sesh. This is great. And I love Aaron Rodgers. I love everything he brings to the team. And sure, people could say whatever they want about all this stuff off the field, but I don't care. That's off the field stuff. He could talk about whatever he wants. It's his life. I don't give a flying hoot. Talk about aliens and spaceships and politics. I don't give a flying hoot. But get on the field and throw touchdowns. That's all I care about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That is what. Then I mean, I don't know, man. Like like I said, man, people got their own different lives and habits out the field they love to do. You know what I mean? What's more important to our Jet fans is Rodgers out there winning our football games, hopefully up there, to the promised land. I do, and then the whole, the whole cancer thing, like, again, you know what I mean? Like, what's the facts that he's a cancer? Like if
Non-existent,
you go,
not there.
Yeah, and then, he was to bring up, his last few years with the Packers. Look, man, things go stale. Relationships go stale. Like Brett Favre moved on from the Packers. Tom Brady, the Patriots moved on from
Peyton
him.
Manning.
And Tom Brady won six Super Bowls. Peyton with the Colts. Things go stale, man. Joe Montana with the Niners. Like we've seen this before. We have Hall of Fame franchise quarterbacks and franchises. A divorce is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, Rodgers been with us for 18 years, and he, it was just time for a change for both sides, and both sides want to move on. Rodgers still praises the Green Bay Packers, still praises Jordan Love, still talks great about Jordan Love, by the way. You know what I mean? And
of course,
yeah. So, I just don't, I agree with what he said, but again, people have their own opinions, and it is what it is. So I do want to bring up
you're right.
the draft.
He has his own opinion, and his opinion's wrong. Dead wrong. Let's just call it out. He had a wrong damn opinion. Everyone can have one, but everyone can have a wrong one too. So totally wrong. True. Off course. No question.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the draft though for y'all. Now,
yeah, please.
I do have a lot of options in this draft. People, I keep hearing people saying Brock Bowers and this whole Brock Bowers thing. Get Brock Bowers at 10. Get him. If y'all get Brock Bowers at 10, I think that would be a big mistake, in my opinion. A big risk. I think y'all should get an offensive lineman or get a wide receiver. If you get one of those two, you can't go wrong. I'd be for O lineman because y'all need depth at that position, and Rodgers isn't getting any younger. He is 40. He's coming off a major injury. If y'all want Aaron Rodgers to play 17 games for y'all need to keep him upright. Let him do his thing. Let him, and the receivers, y'all can get wide receivers in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Like, as a Packer fan, the Jordy Nelsons, the Greg Jennings, the Randall Cobb, the Devontae Adams, the James Jones, all those guys were second, the Donald Drivers, all those guys were second to 7th round picks. All those guys were 1st rounders. So I think y'all should get an old lineman, you know what I mean? And then in the 3rd and 4th round, get your wide receivers. Because Rodgers can make wide receivers great. Rodgers made Alan Lazard look good. You know what I mean? Like, he made Jeff Janis, Rodgers went to the championship game with Jeff Janis as his, receiver. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, I would say I know a lot of people call out the Brock Bowers thing. I'd be fine with Brock Bowers, so that's it. I'd be fine with offensive line. I'd be fine with the receiver. My preferred destination of choice is going to get a wide receiver and trying to get one of the big ones. And whether you make an aggressive trade and go all the way up or a more reasonable trade, which we've brought up on the show before, whether it's jumping over to 8 with the Falcons or jumping to 7 to Tennessee and trying to find that one last spot to get the 3rd receiver, whoever that ends up being, if it's Rome Odunze, who, like I said, we're talking to later this week, or Neighbors or Harrison or whoever it is. It's probably most likely Odunze, but crazy crap happens during the draft. So that would be compelling. That's important.
Now, one scenario came up in my head. Okay. There's a perfect thing that I can see Joe Douglas doing. I could see Joe Douglas making a big move and trading up and giving Marvin Harrison Jr. If he does that, I think that's really. I think you're Jeff, man. I think you are 100% great with that. If he do that, like trade up, like I don't know, like Marvin Harrison Jr. might be before to be taken in like the 3rd.
Yeah, he'll be up there. Yeah.
I could see Joe D doing that, trading up his assets, moving up and getting Marvin Harrison Jr. or he can trade back. Maybe trade back in the second round, or recoup some picks. Because remember, y'all don't have that second round because of the Rodgers trade. So
thank you for bringing that back up. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, hey, you still got your first rounder, but I mean,
That's
it sucks
true.
to me,
That's
you know what I mean? Because I kind of really wanted that first, so we can have two.
I bet you did.
But,
yeah,
you know what I mean. But for y'all's sake, y'all still got your first. But maybe Joe Douglas can trade back to for flexibility. You know what I mean? Maybe recoup a second round pick. But if I had to put my money on that, I think y'all would just stay at 10, and then I say offensive lineman is more than likely bet. But if y'all get a wide receiver, that's you can't go wrong with that too, because y'all need depth, because you don't want Garrett Wilson going down, Mike Williams, and have us all be your number one. Like, I think y'all need depth at that wide receiver position.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And you said also you wanted to address the safety position. Is that true?
Yes. About now, y'all just re-signed Asher Davis. I thought that was a good move for y'all. People there's some people arguing that y'all should still add up and beef up that room.
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about Chuck Clark? Like, Chuck Clark coming off an ACL, didn't play all last year. Do y'all like him as you starting safety? Him and Tony, and him and TA. TA, because I have watched our games. TA took a massive improvement.
Yeah, I will say I love TA, so he's one of the starters. And the other starters up for grabs. Is it Chuck Clark? Is it Ashton Davis? My lean would be Chuck Clark. Prior to this injury with the Jets, he had played 1,000+ consecutive snaps over like a 3-year period. So an NFL Iron Man, a glue guy, great tackler. That's one of the big reasons I loved him. And the Jets got him for nothing from Baltimore. Signs a very reasonable 1-year, $2 million deal, basically a prove-it deal. Hey, show you're healthy, and maybe you could cash in with the Jets or some other team next year. I would imagine it's another team next year, and then maybe the Jets draft a guy and he comes up somewhere on day 3. But yeah, I like Chuck Clark a lot. I think he brings leadership. I think he brings the right moxie to the team. He's really intriguing to me, but I don't blame the Jets for it. I just saw the money on the Ashton Davis thing. It wasn't crazy at all. It's like a 1-year deal for 2.5 or 1.5 guaranteed or something. So super reasonable. That's fine.
Yeah.
A little bit more, it looks like, than the Chuck Clark deal. But because he's coming off a torn ACL, you have to have both a plan so you can bring him back slowly, and also insurance policy just in case perhaps he's not the same player coming off of that. Now, that's not as common with the ACL that you would have those kind of issues at the NFL level with all the technology and everything they have. But hey, anything can happen with injuries. So you have to be protected. You have to be insured. So right now, if I had to pencil it in, April 14th, my starting safeties would be Tony Adams and Chuck Clark. But I would say Ashton Davis played a lot of big nickel last year, which I loved. So you get sometimes those 3 safety looks. So I think he's going to get PT. He played 19% of the snaps last year. I think that number is going to be higher this year. But yeah, because Chuck Clark's on a 1-year deal, because Ashton's on a 1-year deal, it wouldn't be terrible if with one of your 7 picks that you currently have, somewhere on day 3, you throw a dart, throw at a young safety you like, you can mold them. The Jets have done really good developing players on the defensive side of the ball, and you have that guy either ready to take Chuck Clark's spot, or Ashton Davis proves enough and you bring him on a more long-term deal, 2 or 3-year deal perhaps, or the same thing for Clark. So yeah, so there's opportunities there. That's kind of how I feel about the safety spot.
Yeah. And there is just Justin Simmons too. People keep floating out there. He's still a free agent, so
that's true. Sure.
Maybe y'all can look up to him, but maybe y'all might get a safety in the later rounds, maybe in 7th, something like that. The 6th.
Hey, TA was an undrafted free agent, so you never know.
Let's see what can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but and that, like I said, man, this draft overall, man, it's gonna be fun, man. Like, we're getting close.
Mm-hmm.
1 more week away.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're 11 days away, man. We're 11 freaking days away. BMAC, thanks for giving us all these draft reports and updates. You're a great caller, man. People were saying you should be doing your own show too. I would support it. That's amazing. But
I do got my own
feel free to
show.
call.
I do got my own show.
Okay. Feel free, plug it.
Packer show. So I'm a co-host with a friend of mine.
Okay. What's the show? Give us a plug.
Yeah, it's called Move the Change with KH and BMAC. KH is another Packer fan. He's a great dude. Me and him. The show is on his channel. But we both are the two hosts on it. So it's on YouTube. Check it out. Just go to a KH YouTube channel, and it's on there. We do it once a week. You know, he's busy, but we do it once a week or every week. It depends on the scheduling. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, awesome. Thank you for that plug, and we'll be looking after it, BMAC, and feel free to call back anytime, brother.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Okay, we have one more call. We'll squeeze this in real quick before my family kills me for the length of this program. But let's bring in Nick T, our tribal chief here on the program. Raise him up. What's up, brother?
What's up, Way Green? I'm feeling pretty good.
Hey, what's poppin'?
Nothing. I'm excited. Honestly, we haven't spoken in a little while since down, but obviously with the craziness of WrestleMania and all the Jets. Super happy. We talked about Ashton Davis having to be a depth piece and a return to this team, and he's another one of, I guess, does it justify more of JD's draft prowess? I don't know. I mean, it's a 1-year deal, so it is what it is. Hey.
Yeah. Hey, Soraya, you're here on the show. Say hello. Look, you're on the show.
Hey. Go Jets.
What's happening? Okay. Yes. You were saying the safety position. Sorry about that. Yes.
No, completely get it.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited about where this team is going and just the holes that they've filled, that JD's filled in free agency so far. What I'm curious about is, obviously the draft coming up. I think the trade down is inevitable.
Yes.
I think it just makes the most sense. I would drop down even in the mid to late 20s, because we're talking a swing tackle right now. A depth piece, I think, is what the team needs. And the receiver depth in this draft is strong. So you get an extra 3 this year. You can use that extra 3 on a wide receiver, because it's going to be a wide receiver, 4 at this point?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, why use a first-round pick on something like that? It seems like a waste. And I know Bowers, everyone loves Bowers, but I just don't see it happen. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he throws to the tight end, but he's never had a Pro Bowl tight end. So I don't think it really matters. And I don't trust Hackett or this offensive staff to move him around in the position that he would be successful. So I just think it's drop down, take the extra picks. And if you can get an extra 1 next year, it's a brilliant play. I'll take a 3 this year and a 1 next year over, the 2. And the other thing,
that's compelling too, by the way. I would love that. And I will give this, because I hear the people talking about it. There you go. Here it is.
Wow.
You go, wow, which was it for my daughter. I will say as well, it does feel like in a lot of ways that a trade down is inevitable. Joe Douglas has never done it before, but this would be the year to do it. Again, it's so interesting that you can make compelling pitches either way, that you can make it in this all in year, trading up, F them picks, let's go. Standing pat saying, hey, something's great going to drop to us. Do the math. We're at 10, 9 players going to go, 4 quarterbacks are likely going to go, beep, boop, bop. We're getting somebody. Or to your point, the trade back of like saying, hey, multiple players are here. We love 4 of the 5. Let's trade back 3. We're guaranteed to get one of those 4 or 5 that we love. Boom, extra asset to your point, whatever it is. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, which is exciting. When you're forced last year, oh boy, really need one of these, and then it doesn't happen, it just feels like hell. So it feels great to be in a much different position this year.
What are your thoughts on? Because honestly, it's a spot that we're not usually in, embarrassment so to speak, but like in the 3rd round, there's going to be some really good running back talent, at least in the mock drafts that I've done. It seems like one of these top running backs could fall. And I know Brees is a stud, but the idea of having another back to go along with, especially a young back, like Michael Carter was good with him for the short period of time. Like I thought Michael Carter got a bad rap for a lot of things. And like, I think having another young back versus a veteran that could be at the top, one of the top 5 running backs prospects in this draft, along with Brees, could be a game changer too.
Yeah, I will say that if I'm Joe Douglas, it would be incredibly tempting. I just wrote a piece that actually dropped 8 minutes ago or something on the Facebook page. It's been up on our site since last night. And Ritzamini basically guaranteed to Will Parkinson that the Jets will be adding a veteran running back at some point. Not that rules out a drafting as well. But if you draft somebody, maybe that veteran thing doesn't happen. But boy, would I be intrigued if you're at 72 and no running back's been taken, which, by the way, is possible. I talked to Russell Brown. He's a draft analyst on my radio show. I talk to him every Friday, and it was 2 weeks ago or yesterday. It was Friday. All my math is going all over the place. One of those two has kind of come up with this or that of coming in, and I will tell you that, man, he said that the hardest thing he's had to do in this draft is rank the running backs, because he said he has them in a pocket from like 70 to 84 is where he has like 7 or 8 of them bunched up, which is right by 72. So you get to 72 and Joe Douglas and your Jet staff, you believe in your scouting. You're like, wow, we got the first whack at the pinata of any running back, and it's checks notes 3rd round. You're right. So I know Ricky, I haven't seen him in here yet, but he's the massive Trey Benson guy. If that's your guy, although it seems like doesn't seem to be a consensus, at least from what I've seen from speaking to different draft people, on who that guy is. But if Benson's a guy, sure, whoever it is, I think that would be, because again, I don't want to put this out into the universe, but after this season, Breece Hall is in the last year of his deal. So to provide a little bit of insurance on that side, hopefully they sign him and all the youngsters, Sauce, Garrett, everybody. I hope they sign them to all long-term deals, because I'd love to retain and keep all these guys. So that would be amazing to me. But to your point, I think it would be tempting. Again, to me, if we're doing roster construction in 3rd round, there's something else there. I would prefer the veteran running back, because he signs for like $1 million and you run that horse into the ground and destroy him along with whatever Breece does. And that to me is interesting. But again, there is a compelling case for, if I'm the GM, I'd be like, first running back, interesting. And we're going to plan on running the ball a lot, and we're going to be in leads, and we're going to need somebody to rock it. And cheap labor. We're talking about, like, what is it, $800,000 for the 72 overall pick in terms of salary? Like, what are we talking about here? So, yeah. Does he do it? He's drafted a running back every year that he's run the Jets. So it's on the bingo card, and I think that would be compelling.
Yeah. No, I'm interested and intrigued, but we'll see. Anyway, Boy Green, always a pleasure. Get back to your family. Everyone, happy Sunday.
All right, will do. Thank you, pal, and thanks for joining in. Thanks for everybody who joined in on the show. We went an hour and 26 minutes, which is way longer than normal. There's no doubt about it. There's 1,000 people in the room. Guys, thank you so much. One of the longest shows we've had, an hour and a half, as John Sauer says. Hey, we try to do what we can for you people. Boy Green, baby. Boy Green Daily. Again, make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe down below. That's your free way to contribute to the show. We love it. We'll be back on tomorrow. Dom C joins us for a Mock Draft Monday episode. And again, we will be 10 days out from the NFL draft tomorrow and the Jets jersey brand reveal. All that's supposed to be coming out too. So thanks everybody for tuning in. One of the longer Boy Green Daily episodes we've done in a long time. That's awesome. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.